Hi, I'm Declan and this is Blue. Say hello, Blue. Hello. Woof, woof. Now the reason I'm shooting this video in the barn part of the house is because the studio isn't yet dog-proofed. So apologies if the sound is a little bit echoey, but hopefully we'll get through that okay. So I'll let Blue carry on with her play now. There you go, Blue. And this video is just to run through the pros and cons of the different types of keyboards. So I'm going to break this down into 6 different types. There are more types that you could talk about, but these are the main 6 which I've encountered. So the first one is the cheapest entry point. So this could be suitable for children. If you don't know whether they will keep up piano or not, then this is the entry-level keyboard. For most adults, if you're serious about learning, I wouldn't go for this option, and I'll explain why a bit later. But the first option then is the non-touch sensitive electronic keyboard. So this is the entry level. Every keyboard I'm talking about here is the full sized key. So what I mean by that is the actual key length and width is full size, as opposed to children's keyboards sometimes have smaller key sizes. So I'm not talking about the number of keys, that's a separate issue, just full key size. So the first one, this is an example of one of the entry-level keyboards. I tend to always buy Yamaha keyboards because over the years I've found them to be the best build quality for the money and good piano sounds. So the entry-level ones, at the moment, at the time of shooting this video, the Yamaha YPT range is the entry, and I think 250 is the entry range. That's the model number. Price point about $150, something around there. You can buy them used often for about half that price. Now these they have okay piano sound. It's not the best in the world, but it's on a budget. So it is usable if you want to learn. It has 61 keys, which I think is the minimum really that you want. And it's got other sounds in as well. It has lots of all these buttons here on the up here. You can choose different sounds and rhythms. I don't tend to use those at all. I just play keyboards as piano sounds really. So the downside with this keyboard is it's not touch sensitive. So what I mean by that is the sound is the same volume irrespective of how hard you hit the key. So if I hit the key really softly, it's that sound. If I hit it really hard, it's exactly the same level. So you can't put any expression into the playing and it can sound a bit mechanical. So if you're playing something like Bach or some early Mozart or early classical music that was sort of almost a harpsichord style of writing, that could be okay. So you can get away with that type of style. It's a bit okay, but really if you're trying to play a ballad, that's when the touch sensitivity really comes into its own. So I'll compare that with another keyboard that has touch sensitivity. So that's without the touch sensitivity, and this is one with touch sensitivity. So there you have it. That's a budget keyboard. If you can afford it and you are serious about playing, I would recommend then going for a keyboard that has touch sensitivity. So then we're into the second sort of category, which is the same type of keyboard with touch sensitivity. Now, all the bells and whistles of the rhythms and the sounds are quite useful for children. They find that really useful. You can put some headphones on and they can play away, and often they have cow sounds and dog sounds and other special effects. And that's great to encourage children to treat the keyboard as a fun play activity instead of it being really serious, which is the way that I was taught, unfortunately. So that's the second category. Usually it might cost $50 to $100 more for the touch sensitivity, but if you are serious about playing, that is worth it. Now, the third category is electronic pianos. So they are similar to these other keyboards, except they often don't have all the rhythms and all the different sounds in. They're usually just more focused on piano, and they generally would have a better piano sound than the other keyboards that have lots of different sounds in. So for example, this one here, the Yamaha Piaggero range is a really good range that I use a lot of their keyboards. The entry one is the NP12 at the time of shooting this video, and that looks like this. So as you can see, it's not got the extra depth that the other keyboard has with all the different screen and the sounds, but I find that really useful. It's more portable, it fits in cars easier, it's lighter, and the extra effort has been put into making the piano sounds better. So I prefer these myself. This is the 61 key version, which is more than enough for most people. There is a 76 key version, which is the NP32, and you know, if you want to play lots of classical music, or you just really want to show off by going, you know, like big runs up and keep on going like that, then you can show off with a larger keyboard, but it's not necessary for most people. Okay, these are my favorite for portability, parties. What's also good about the smaller range, as in the NP12, as it's got less on it than the larger ones in that range, it lasts a lot longer on batteries. So these run both on the mains on battery as well as batteries, but this one can last up to about 5 or 6 hours on a set of batteries, which I use rechargeable ones, so that's really good. The big brother, which is over here, I'll show you. This is the Yamaha Piaggero. This is the NPV60. I bought this probably 3 or 4 years ago, so I don't know if the model has changed, but this is brilliant. This is a 76 key one. I tend to use this for gigs, or if I'm doing studio recordings and things. This is very good. It has a lot of the extra sounds and rhythms and things. I tend to really use them mainly just for piano sounds, but this is a great one. The built-in speakers are louder than the smaller ones in the Piaggero range. So again, if you're playing in a restaurant or something, or a gig where you haven't got your own amplifier, for small gigs, this is quite good. Okay, so that's just check on my list here now. So I've covered the electronic pianos. Oh yeah, these are non-weighted keys. So by non-weighted, it means it's just it's plastic. There's no wood under it. So weighted is it's got wood under the key, which gives it a feeling more like a real piano. So the next category are the electronic pianos with weighted keys. So these effectively are the same type of idea, but the feel of the key is different. It's heavier. I don't really like those very much. I did learn on a piano as a child, so for the first 10 or 15 years, I just used real pianos. But the portability and the cost saving of the non-weighted keyboards for me now outweigh the benefits of the weighted ones. And yeah, so I've not bought any weighted ones for years and years and years. They're okay if you are keeping it in the house and never going to move it. If it's going to be a piece of furniture, then that's okay. But I suppose it's personal preference, but I don't tend to buy the weighted ones. There's then the next category is the professional keyboards. So the only downside with all the ones I've spoken about so far is they are quite light plastic. So that's great for portability, but not great for being robust. So if you're throwing them in the back of a car or a van or a tour bus or something, they're not really built for heavy usage. So also things like the power supplies are really for home use. You would need a more robust socket and things if you're doing lots of gigs. So the professional keyboards often have the top level sound quality, but you pay for it, so they are pretty expensive, and they can be multiples of the keyboards I've shown you, like the Piaggero range. Some of the ones in there, the Nord, are very, very good. They're very expensive, but they're brilliant. But that's really if you are just going to be a professional keyboard player and play gigs. Okay, next we come on to real pianos. So the advantage of a real piano is it's a real piano. So there's some people that probably wouldn't like these electronic ones and the plastic keys. Of course, the sound of a real piano is a real piano. The downside is, have you ever tried taking one to a party? So obviously they're not very portable at all. They can be expensive, although that being said, there's lots of people now that actually give them away. So as long as you can transport it to your house and get it in the room that you want it in, then actually you can pick up some pianos for very cheap indeed. But they're not portable, and most of my enjoyment of music is about playing at parties and performance. So yeah, I'm no longer a mad fan of real pianos, but they also need tuning, whereas the electronic ones don't. So things like the room humidity and changes in temperature will affect the tuning, and so usually most pianos would need to be tuned on a fairly regular basis, which is a cost. The other disadvantage of a real piano is there's no control of the volume. Once you've hit the key, okay, if you hit it soft, it's a bit softer, but if you're playing a certain style, the volume is the volume that the hammer hits the string. Whereas on these ones, what's great about it is you can put headphones in, or you have a volume control, so you can still play it with the level that you want to play it in terms of how hard you hit the key, but you can make it virtually silent to other people in the house, which is great if you've got other people sharing the room with you, or you know, just don't want to hear you practicing piano. In the pianos then, there's two different types. There's the upright piano. These are cheaper, they are easier to fit into a room, they take less space. They generally feel similar to play to the other category, which is the grand piano. So the baby grand is the smaller of the two, rather than a full grand. If I was going for a piece of furniture and had bucket loads of money and lots of space, then I would get a baby grand, just because I think they're the most beautiful piece of furniture ever made, probably. And it's wonderful to play a baby grand. Again, they cost quite a bit and you have to tune them and things. But if you have the space for it and you can afford one, then baby grands are great. There's modern type of ones, again, Yamaha make modern ones, or what can be really lovely is a really old one, Victorian type of era piano. They can be really beautiful. The baby grands are good as well because you can face people. So at a party, if you're playing a baby grand, you can have everyone stood around it. So I've done that many times after weddings in hotels and different things. The problem with the upright piano is you are facing the upright part of it. So if the people are on the other side, then you can't really see them because of the piano. And then if the people are behind you, you have your back to them. So playing uprights to me are not as enjoyable as playing a baby grand. Usually the quality as well of a baby grand in general would be better than the quality of an upright. So there you have it. That's the range of different types of keyboards in the categories that I sort of see most clearly. So I hope that's been useful. If you have any questions, please contact me. Thanks. Bye.